again, accept where you're at and do the best you can to take good care of your body and your mind and your health.
When life's visible and hidden battles make you doubt that peace, love, and full-on living are possible, We Win Within brings the proof. Guests crack open their great stories that may overlap with what each of us carries, sharing raw truths, hard-won discoveries, and triumphs that illuminate the road for us all. I'm Hindi Stegman, daughter of Holocaust survivors, speaker, coach, and fellow journeyer in life, inviting you to listen, look inside, and claim the champion already rising in your heart. So, hi, everybody. My name is Hindi Stegman, and I'm your host for the We Win Within podcast. And today we're really in for a treat. We have Dr. Erica Lieberman Garrett, and she's going to be joining and sharing her story of how she came to really come to We Win Within. So, Erica, tell me about your journey and where do you want to start?
Well, good morning, Hindi. Nice to speak with you. I would start with now because just this week I had a big shift in some question for my future. I've had a big life change in the past couple of years, and it's been quite the life lesson slash, challenges for sure. So I say we could start with now.
Okay. So, what is it that you have rituals? You have something that you go to that helps you when you're in that yuck or stuck?
I do. Um, I found over the years when there's, I guess, what more recently being in a very much more challenging, stressful, and then as we're older, you don't think you're going to have anxiety quite the way you hear people talk about it. It wasn't something I dealt with too much in the past. But thankfully, my experiences with learning how to deal with a lot of stress and crisis management, that's what I go to. So that's
As an
something.
example.
So when you're just heading into it and taking action, number one, to just not lose the ability to take action and control what you can control. So I think that's the number one thing, besides just breathing and focusing on what you can do. And that's been a good lesson to learn over the years.
Well, I know that you love to work out, you
Yes.
love to swim, you love to have fun with friends. Are those some of the tools that you might use?
So working out's always been a thing. And for if you don't work out, I don't know how you're handling your stress, number one. So over the years with working out, it's always been in my life, and sadly or positively through injury, you have to learn to adapt. But even simple breathing and sitting in a chair and whatever you do, so that is number one key, is to keep moving and to just have that in your life as part of your routine. But I use the examples of some of my patients who have reached 100, and it has to do with keeping active and social connection. So 100% what you mentioned with friends and having fun. support of friends, and family is, different than friends, depends on, certainly your family. But yes, younger friends, older friends, because, all friends give you different perspectives. And yeah, it's a very, very important thing is to keep social. So that's definitely,
I assume as a chiropractor, when you have patients coming into you with aches and pains, right?
yes,
They start sharing life stories. You probably know about a lot of people.
I do.
And do you guide everybody in kind of the similar direction, or um, give me an example without using names?
In a direction relative to specifically,
Helping people to come out of their poor me, I'm feeling so down. I don't have the energy I used to. My back is constantly hurting. I
right?
don't want to go out with my friends. Whatever it is, I'm sure you hear all kinds of stories. And so you must guide them in some way besides just giving them your technical adjustments, right?
100%, because healing comes from within your whole spirit and your soul and your, you know, mental state. It's all connected. So, in our life as we get older, and I always would listen to my patients talking about aging, and now I'm there. And, there's no normal for the world and for you and for life. Everybody's different. And one thing that has helped is learning how to accept things and learn to go with the flow more, because you can't control everything, and that is a big thing. So everybody has stories, everybody has problems. It all varies degree. There's always worse, there's always better. So yeah, it's hard. Chronic pain, I've had it myself, so I learned about that early on. And you just have to move forward and breathe into it, and try to look at the positive side of what is the positive for you. Little gratitude, long. My grandfather used to say it all adds up. So that's something I repeat a lot. It's all adds up. And everything counts. So it's good to think that way. That helps. And then of course stretch and drink water. I mean the normal things. I live in a place where people are very dehydrated. And it's simple things that help you to feel better.
Well, that's great. So, did you start on this journey of being positive and listening to your inner self from the time you were a kid? When did you really, because so many of us, get that aha moment, I'm not going to take it anymore, or whatever it is that says, I want to do something, I need to make a change. When was that for you, Erica? Do you remember?
Mm. Well, that's a very interesting question, Hindi. That's a big question. I think that I like in my mind, in my life cycle, because I lived up in Canada. I'm the oldest of five children. So my mother had a lot of kids, and I became very responsible fairly quickly. So I think that one of the things about being positive, I guess, or change. So when I was 9, I was already taller than my third grade teacher, which was kind of strange. But I was crooked because I have a scoliosis. So from early on there, when you have, pain, you're a kid, and I was very active and very independent already. Um, when you say positive, like you brought awareness of, oh, this is hard or this hurts, or and you're young. So I probably would say back then maybe I wasn't so positive, and I would whine and complain, and but that was kind of what I heard in my life too around me. because of how what you hear. So that was normal to whine and complain. So not that I didn't make positive changes, but I guess you can look at the different. So when I moved to the Keys and I started doing yoga, I started learning about meditation. And even before that, I became involved with Louise Hay's affirmation work. So as a healer going through chiropractic college and then, needing healing for myself and learning, I taught exercise and breathing, but the positive mental and the shifting of the attitude and that whole process, I'd say that really came with, that's the work. That's doing the affirmation work, listening to what you're saying, stopping and listening to what other people are saying. That comes with that work of when I studied kind of through healing meditation and then practicing it. You know, people say to me, because I taught that for 16 years and I would like say it in a class and they're like, oh, I still hear your voice in my head saying, take a breath, all is well. I mean, it's simple, but it makes a difference.
So is
So,
that self-talk? Does self-talk, Talk, make a difference? What we say to ourselves?
oh yeah, 100%. You're probably the biggest in your head. That's it, the voice. So yes, 100%. That is it.
And
And
how do you get people when you were teaching to make that little shift, that 2 millimeter shift?
right.
What was it?
Someone said to me one time during my class after, well, what do you mean do the work? So that's what it is. Nothing just happens. You have to do the work, the dirty, the nitty, the gritty. I mean, that's what life is. Again, I go back to I'm not afraid to say I'm older, I'm old, I'm not young. And, back, as we say, in the day, um, it was different. You had to do the work yourself, go to the library, look up a card, find a book, find the answer. So learning to be resourceful and have that grit and, continue forward, that's what it is. You have to practice and do the work.
Well,
So
today it's so easy to go online, and we used to say we could just Google, but Google's becoming a little obsolete. And now you get artificial intelligence, you ask it a question, and it can give you a list of options and teachers and whatnot.
it's brilliant. I've often said how smart we would have been had we had any of that back in the day. But again, you have to do the work and look it up and process it and put it in your life and, apply it. So
So what you're saying is it's not enough just to Google and get Google or the bot to give you all the answers. Now
talk,
you've got it right in front of you, right?
you have to have action. You can't just talk. Talk is talk. Action is action.
So you know the expression when the why becomes big enough, the how becomes easy. Have you found that people really need to look for their why in order to start to make those positive changes?
The why within themselves of where they're at this moment.
Well, a lot of times we will make a change for our mother, for our father, for our children, for our dogs, for our pets. You know, we'll go the extra mile for something or someone or a cause that we might not do for ourselves personally, right?
Yes.
And so I'm just wondering, in your experience over the years, have you found that people have need an anchor of something, that a reason?
Unfortunately, I think people usually have to hit a kind of crisis point and then they wake up. I think that over time now, with the advent of yoga, meditation, awareness, things that are different now than they now it's mainstream. People have become more self-aware, but I would not say that's the majority of people. I would, and I don't know, because I live in a little bubble of my universe here, so I don't know exactly, the big universe how that is. But my feeling of what I see is, in general, people have to hit kind of a crisis to give them that little stimulus to make a big change and to look within and not to blame somebody else. So
Well,
that's what I've,
within your little universe, though, you have numerous friends from all walks of life and all ages, right? And
yes.
so I'm sure that not everybody is in la 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 every day.
No,
And
nobody is. I mean, most people aren't really, whether it's them or their families. I mean, now the world. So, there's a lot of concern for sure.
so I always say when I get up, I need to be grateful that I got up.
Yes.
I need to be grateful that I had a BM. We all know what that is, because if you don't, it really hurts, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then you really need to look at I need to look at, things that make me, that I can be grateful for. And I say that I have to be a warrior every single day for myself because life happens, people come into our lives, things happen that we have no control over. And then what? And it's so easy. It's so easy what I have found to become a victim of our circumstances. And what happens in victimhood, Erica?
Right. You become fearful. You become blaming others. You don't take responsibility. You wallow in the misery, and it goes on. And then you look for other people to join you.
Well, that's
And
that's a really good statement. You look for other people to join you. And
yeah,
isn't it amazing how often our friends will join in and give and agree with us for all the
right,
reasons that life sucks, right?
right. Yeah,
And you
yeah.
really do need to have at least one friend, call a friend who's going to say, hold on a second, get off your pity pot, you know?
100%. Yeah, no, for sure. And, sadly, if they are kind of going there with you, they're probably adding to the toxic nature of the situation, because that's, where they're at too. So, yeah, that's interesting too, because as we get older, also going into the older thing, with the expanding out of our friends and our families and etc., who we have certain relationships with and what benefits for both of everybody there is. Because, of course, everybody wants to say, oh, everybody in my family gets along great and all my friends and whatever. But yeah, that's not reality. So, it's very complicated. As they say, it's complicated. It's true in life. So, and for me, I'm going to throw in that I moved away from my family over 30 years ago to live in Florida, left, my big life up in Canada, and started totally new in every level, my professional, with my relationship and my everything, living in the United States. So now, 35 years almost later, part of living where I am in the Keys, learning to be independent based on, what the environment offers, going and being involved in my faith and in the synagogue here and in the community, that is so key. That is so key. And I feel that that's a big thing that people in our environment here, there's a lot of people who are very connected and go to their churches and other places. And our community provides such a network to bond people. And, that's not in every place. Again, I live in my little universe here. So I don't know in other environments, but I mean, what I hear from my family up north and being in a bigger environment, that's such a blessing for people to live well. So I know they've studied that, and connection and social and faith, all of that is very important in living well. And also the support that it provides for people. I mean, I've seen that now in the last 2 years for me when I needed more support than ever. And I mean, people just, this is our village. They are there for you. And I feel so every day, that's one of my biggest, most grateful blessings. Like, I would never have seen my life being living in this way, but it's fantastic. But you have to make that happen. You have to get out there and get involved, and you can't just sit there and be on the internet with it like with Zoom. It's not the same. You have to have social connection. People have to see you.
That's a really good point. So I'm wondering, at what point d- is it like I debate within myself whether it's I should reach out to people that I know that really could use a friend or need some help if they don't reach out. When is it, in your estimation, stepping on toes, or if somebody doesn't ask, don't say. Where's the balance for you?
So being that I deal with people that are in pain and in need, I reach out as a doctor to them to follow up, and just because I'm thinking about them and concerned about them. If you're in a non-professional environment, I'm still concerned for people. Um, my experience, so, and then sadly there's a lot of drama usually, et cetera, et cetera. So what level are you willing to, like, what is it that you want to do in this relationship? um so I feel like people really appreciate knowing that you're thinking about them and are there for them if they would need anything, like a message to send someone, I've been thinking about you. I hope you're doing well. Open the door, reach out. Um, and then sometimes they won't ask you because certain circumstances you should just do something. And then if there's a negative result, as in they're sucking the life out of your energy because they're an energy vampire, you have to end that quick and establish those boundaries. Because being somebody who's empathetic and giving and caring and concerned, people sadly become, because of where they're at too. So you do have to draw your boundaries. But listen, that's why I feel I have a lot of people that are supportive to me, and I care about them. And if you care about people, then you reach out to them.
I think what you said though is really important because for those of us that are empathic and want to help, sometimes you have to remember to take care of yourself first because there are people out there, you called it an energy vampire, that if you're willing and you put yourself out, they will just suck you all, suck all your energy, and then you're exhausted and really there's nothing left for you. So I have a little expression that I use, and it's when I say no to you, I say yes to me. Because if I'm always saying yes to everybody, then I'm not taking care of my needs. And it's easy, actually, sometimes with the groups of people and whatnot, or even a single friend, to get caught up and give and give and give, and then your energy is drained. So I think it's really important to have that balance, and it's okay to say no sometimes.
100%. And it's also good to lie down and take a nap during the day. Let me just throw that in. Um, there's just little things that for yourself that you would say, oh, I can't do this or I shouldn't do that. And, again, going back to my life's changed, and all of a sudden, one afternoon, I'm lying in bed and I'm taking a nap now in the middle of the day. I'm like, you know what? That's okay. I'm allowed to not get all my work done right now, which is never going to happen anyway. And I'm allowed to just right now lie down in my bed. And if I wanted to watch some TV, even I can watch TV. And to have your ability to do what you need to do, that's also for, and then you have more to give to other people.
So really what you're saying is it's okay to love yourself enough to give yourself what you need without
Right.
feeling guilty.
Yes. There it
'Cause
is.
that's a big word, right?
Yeah. Well,
Guilty.
the
I could be
guilty.
doing this and I could be doing that, and maybe I should be doing this.
Oh, yeah. That's why you wake up in the middle of the night in your head. And then, your little list. So, yes, you have to learn. That's called balance, learning how to balance your life because, and that again goes back to, and I learned that through the practice of I'm a person that does a lot in a day. I mean, at this point in my life, what I get done, and I sometimes look back to what I used to do as well, and I'm like, whoa. And it's good. It's good. I thrive on being productive and checking off my little list and feeling like I've done something very positive and of service. That's another big word of service to others. But then it's exhausting. And also, it puts more pressure on yourself because when is it ever enough? And when are you ever done? So, yes, that's called finding the balance and allowing yourself without the guilt to put it there and say, okay, it'll be there. And now I'm resting and then I can get back to it. So, but then your mind doesn't want to do it because it's used to. So, you have to learn how to do that. It's not easy though.
So again, it's putting the work in.
Yeah, you
It's
have to
putting
do
the
the
work
work
in.
100%. Yeah. And also let me throw in, your body changes over your decades
Really?
and every decade. Actually, I think it's every 7 years. So you cycle through your hormones and your life and your external and internal, situations. So you have to adapt also. And people keep wanting to hold on. And I make the statement about, oh, when you're 37, you're going to say, oh, I wish I was 27. And when you're 47, you're going to go, oh, I wish I was 37. And you know what? Again, accept where you're at and do the best you can to take good care of your body and your mind and your health because otherwise, you know, pray for your good genes, but hello. So that's another thing. Like when my patients come in and they're older and they say to me, "Oh, this is the first time I ever felt this." I'm like, "You should say amen." So, right, because it could be a lot earlier. But if you don't pay attention to it, at some point you are going to have to. So, again, back to there's much more information about eating properly, much more access to good, healthy foods, drinking proper, good water, and keeping mobile and exercising. But the social aspect and, breathing, simple things, breathing. It's interesting how people don't breathe properly. So, yeah. And then
But
hormones. I hate the word, but oy, hormones. And, there's no answer to hormones except for where you're at. And, that's the whole thing. So it's very tricky and it's very up and down and not like usually there. So it's a thing. But again, thankfully, as we have become, more advanced, there's so many more options for people and so much more information. So,
I think that's really great because of course as we age, we do go through different stages. But there's the expression you're only as old as you feel, and age is only a number.
that's
Well,
right.
it is true on the one hand, but your body sometimes you like in my head, I don't know what age I am. I'm different ages at different days. But then there are days when my back or whatever, and I go, Hindi, you are not whatever anymore. And I'm blessed, knock on, there's no wood in front of me. I mean, I'm 75 plus. And one of the reasons I love doing what I'm doing and reaching out and talking to people, it's such a gift for me to be talking with them. But the biggest gift is for me keeping my mind occupied and learning and growing. And I think as we age, I'm sure you'll find, and I'm sure you know, that, expanding your mind, I think is so important. I don't think we're ever too old to learn and grow, right?
That's very interesting. Yesterday, I had a young patient, and she has a scoliosis, which is why I became a chiropractor. And she got the surgery where she had the rod put in her spine, which I chose not to do when I was 16. And then I became a chiropractor and natural healing and working out and blah, blah, blah. Okay. I said to her, one of the things that is in my life and because she's studying now, is I have always been a student. And I think it's the best thing you can do is to always study and learn something new. And when I graduated from chiropractic college, I did that in um, what I said is every year I'm going to study something new. And I have done that every year, a lot of studying over the years. And I 100% agree with you on the stimulation of the brain, not to mention you'll be more interesting to talk to, I would say too. But and then also, and it's not looking and Googling stuff. It's learning and doing. It can be simply learning how to paint. That's your this year, I'm going to learn how to paint. Whatever it is, every year, something new. And yes, this way you have a big umbrella of things that you do and think about. And 100% that was I did early on because I always loved being a student. I would go back to school right now. Well, maybe. I don't know if I could sit in the classroom and do how it works right now. But no, I think that that is the key to many levels of everything. And also getting through, whatever's going on outside of your universe, because now all you do turn the news on, and that's a bit of a situation to put it mildly. So yeah, mayhem is the word I use for that. So learning how to kind of keep going through it as life goes on, because it will get better with time, everything will change. So but, again, going back to what's normal, there isn't. So we've certainly seen that as life goes on. Things have changed. But if you learn things, this is a good thing. So, yeah.
That's why we have different seasons, right? We're in the winter season,
Not in Florida. In Florida, we have hurricane season and the rest of the year. So, but I miss the seasons and the change of the seasons. And the moon, we think about the change of the tides in the moon and stuff. But yeah, everything changes. And that's what we've learned, certainly faster now than it has ever been, too. So the younger generations, people they went through COVID, there's a whole thing now that, I lived here in the Keys where COVID, quote, didn't exist. And I was thankfully able to continue to work and not be isolated. And we could go outside and everybody went on their boat and it was so fun. And people came here and worked remotely. And it was all very not like isolated. And now the people that have gone through the isolation over now, we're coming out of that. There's been a shift in how people interact and even pets that were isolated and so forth. And, people have focused more on looking online and being online like this. I never Zoomed. I mean, Zoom is brilliant. So, all the family lives away. You can stay connected. You can really use it for a positive thing. But if you're not getting out and physically being involved outside of your space, this is what's changed a lot. People's activities, they're okay with being on their couch with their laptops and stuff. So it's interesting. And the younger people I had recently, my nieces were here from Canada and we had everyone. And they didn't sit on their phones and they got out and paddleboarded and we exercised. We did chair yoga with my 88-year-old mother. It was very sweet. So, my mom was always one who exercised and, you show people how you are by action and example.
That's so beautiful, Erica. Well, I think we're coming to the end of our time. Is there anything in particular that you want to leave us with that you haven't had an opportunity to say?
Well, we've had a delightful conversation, Hindi. I've known you for a long time, and I think you're fabulous and inspiring, and definitely been one of my mentors. And I'm feeling very privileged and excited that we've had this chat. And at this point, I think all is well, and God bless you. And let's chat again soon.
All right, everybody, we're going to say have a blessed day. And remember, you've got to put in the work and find a friend. So have a blessed day. Bye bye.
Bye now.